Alright, so for today, I'm going to be doing Destroy the Meteor. This mission is completely optional, but if you want to complete your blockbuster questline, you do need to complete Destroy the Meteor. I will be doing this mission in power level 140. I will also be doing it solo. I know it says that I have a second person in my lobby, but that's just my other account, because I just need to be taxied to this mission. So we will be doing this power level 140, solo, and I will not be using any random weapons that you could find in Ventures. So no xenon bows, no vacuum tube bows, no random rocket launchers, no Findertech disintegrators. I've been seeing lots of brown beaters, so none of those too. The only ways I'm killing husks is with my abilities, my hero loadout, as well as my shrapps. But before I jump into the loadout I'm going to be using, there's a few things I want to talk about with this mission. How this mission works is it's basically a category 4 in disguise. No joke. If you of course go into a mission, you will have to defend 4 lasers. If you place down all of the lasers, you will start a timer that has 2 minutes. So you of course won't have enough time to, build all 4 lasers, and you might accidentally lose some if you do want to, of course, defend all 4 lasers. But there's also a bug with this mission. How this mission is supposed to work is the more lasers you have, the more damage you could do to Meteor. The more damage you do to Meteor, the faster the mission will end. So normally, when you have all 4 lasers out, and still standing, normally the mission takes around 8 minutes, so basically pretty much a category 4. But there's currently a bug in this mission where normally, if you defend, of course, less than 4 lasers, the mission will take longer. So if you only defend 1 laser beam, the mission effectively takes around 32 minutes. There's a bug in this mission where even if you have all 4 laser beams out, you will have to wait that 32 minutes. Because for some reason, even though you have more than 1 laser beam out on the field, the game still thinks you only have 1. So this defense mission, even if you defend all 4 laser beams, will take 32 minutes, so keep that in mind if you're trying to do this mission. But with that being said, let's get into the loadout I will be using for this one. And this right here is my loadout. I'm basically using the same loadout that I used for the Scan the Comet mission. For my lead hero, I'm using Mega Base Kyle. We can't guarantee that we could cover all of the lasers, but if we could cover as many as possible, that of course helps out a lot. For my team perk, I'm running Blakebeard Stash. Like I said, I'm not running any random weapons that you could find in Ventures, but I am of course going to allow myself to use Blakebeard Stash, and that's because with Blakebeard Stash, as long as you get kills, you will be rewarded with treasure chests, and those chests will give you peg legs, cannonball grenades that you could use as free weapons, and it takes out a lot of RNG that Ventures has. And for my team perks I'm running Going Coconuts. Of course, that's going to activate Blakebeard Stash, and basically whenever I consume a coconut, that's going to allow my weapons from the treasure chests, as well as my abilities, to do around 16% extra damage, and they are going to help with staying alive, because they can heal you. We're also running Blakebeard himself. He's going to be buffing the cannonball grenades, and of course activating the team perk. We're running Privateer Hype for that extra peg leg damage, and again activating the team perk that we have. And then we're running Power Base Nox and Base Kyle just to help support our base, so our structures are a little bit more happier and healthier. And this is pretty much the loadout that I'm going to be running.
And thwart the revolution! And I say, we fight back!
Whoa, 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 whoa. That is not where we landed on this. We are destroying the meteorite.
Like I said, who will stand with me? Who will stand with my son?
Fine. Let him have this.
Carbide, the meteorite almost killed you. And now, I'm back. That's right, you're back. Cloaks. My name is the Cloaked Star. You went through some dark days, but now you're here. I heard there be fighting. Oh, you better believe there'll be fighting. Good. And Raven. Are you sure you work here? All right. Join me and save the revolution.
By destroying the meteorite with lasers, like we discussed. Clear the crater of Dennis,
Alright, so we're going to start with building the west-south laser right here. What we're going to want to do is cover the laser like this. You could put walls like that. I didn't know that you can, of course, put walls in front of the lasers. I just thought you couldn't because it would destroy the structures. So, yeah, make sure you put walls there. They don't really help with bombshell lobbers, I would say. But they could potentially aim there, so it's still worth, of course, having them. But I never really had a problem with them at all. Next, we're going to build some block-offs like this. We want, of course, the husks to, of course, enter from the south and the west side of the laser. Make sure to also put an edit 4 right here. Make sure to not place a ramp, because if you place a ramp like that, the husks can just, destroy one wall, walk on top of the ramp, and destroy the wall there. And then just, of course, have a new pathway to your laser beam. Next, what we're going to do is we're just going to build a ceiling, of course, over all of the floor tiles. And then, of course, you could build a secondary ceiling if you want. I do, of course, recommend it, though, because you don't, of course, have your base buffing this laser beam. And what we're going to do is we're going to put wall darts up like this. So if flingers, of course, show up, they chuck husks onto the roof. When they land, they will get shot. And if they throw lobber bombs, they'll get sniped out of the air by the anti-airs. Make sure to also craft a wall strap that has heels attached. Wall spikes work great because of how cheap they are, and put them on the inside of these walls. You don't have, of course, your base buffing this, this build for this laser beam, so having some walls that automatically heal over time if you're not at this objective, which, trust me, you're not going to be spending all of your time at this one laser beam when you, of course, have 3 others to defend. Also, make sure to put some anti-airs kinda in some spots where you're not going to have 4 traps, in case spoilers do throw their propanes at your builds. It could really make that difference between saving and protecting your structures, or just having them get destroyed. Next, we're going to craft some sound walls. I'm too broke, so I can't craft them at tier 3, sadly. I'll have to spend more materials crafting them at tier 4. You don't need them to be at tier 4. Tier 3 works great. You just need them to affect splitters. And you just need 1 per entrance of your tunnel. If they decide to throw their propanes, the anti-airs will catch them. If they decide not to, then they'll just get dancified by the sound walls. If that even is a word. Now we're going to use some tar pits. Just put them here because of smashers. You definitely will need tar pits, especially with how long this mission is. 32 minute wave mission. So yeah, they definitely might send 1 or 2 smashers, even if they don't send that many. Next we're going to put some wall darts, kind of just everywhere. But leave the space open for a wall launcher. We don't want, of course, the random basic husks to walk onto the tar pits and waste the durability of that trap. Trust me, it's a very long mission. Like, every bit of durability counts because it can really make the difference between needing to, of course, head back to this objective to replace traps, and not having to head back to this objective. Next we're going to craft some ceiling fields. I like these ones right here, with the double crit damage, crit rating, and then I like the ones with double damage, just so we have a bit of consistent damage overall, and some really high damage in case, you know, there's of course lots of huskies. And how we're going to place them is we're going to place them in a sort of alternating pattern like this. So, of course, those ones I just placed down were the double crit damage ones, and then these ones are the ones with double damage with a reload perk. And the reason why we do this is so we can have a constant amount of damage. And of course, the nice thing with ceiling fields is that they do pretty good burst damage. So they can of course do really good damage to nurses, they can do good damage to huskies, and they're really good for dealing with basic crowds. We will also want some wall launchers protecting these barricades. Of course, we want to protect our barricades. We don't want husks to just make their own paths and then just, you know, bypass all of the traps that we have. So we definitely need to support those barricades. Now we're going to build the northwest laser beam. So we're going to of course do something like this. We want to build out this way so we can have our base placed down over here. And that's going to be affecting both the current laser we're going to be building and the next laser we'll be building. So the one on the northeast. Also keep in mind that base placement will take damage over time. So because of how long this mission lasts for, you will have to move your base and then replace it so it doesn't break. We're now going to build some walls like this with some low ceilings. And it's just going to be a nice little cozy and small build. Now we're going to build some block-offs like this. We don't want them, you know, of course attacking these walls to make it a shortcut, so we will be putting block-offs there. We will be putting a wall dart up here, again for flingers, followed by an anti-air for lobbers, or in case flingers do decide to throw the lobber bombs. We will also want some wall launchers right there and there to keep the husks at bay. We will now want some wooden force spikes, as much durability as possible. We do not care about the damage, we just want the strap for the slowing effect. You'll want a cannon strap right here, and then one on the other side, preferably with a different reload perk or one less reload perk, just so the two cannon straps are going to be alternating, so you can get consistent damage. We will also want some gas. Even though the reload and effect duration are blue, this gas strap has a 100% uptime because of those two perks. So we're definitely going to want a few of those, and make sure to put them at the front of your trap tunnels. We now want some more ceiling fields, so make sure to put the double crit damage ones down, and then have the double damage ones down. Again, for consistent damage, but still, of course, some high damage here and there to help with huskies. And of course, anything that might be attacking the main walls. We will now want some wall lights, just for right here, specifically. And then we're now going to want to have a cannon trap with double crit damage to defend this wall. And then we're going to want, of course, some wall darts. Also, wall lights apply a stagger effect. So if I put a wall dart here, if the husks are of course on the far left side of this wall, they don't get hit by the wall darts. Same with the far right. But because the wall light applies a stagger effect, it's actually going to push enemies in front of the wall dart, so they actually get hit by it. We're now going to want some more tar. Of course, we're going to want one there. We're going to want some sound walls, of course, at the front of the tunnels. And a couple of anti-airs in case of course, splitters if they throw their propanes. I accidentally misplaced that anti-air, so make sure you swap your tar pit placement with that anti-air right there. And make sure there's a sound wall, of course, in front of the entrance of this tunnel. They can come up here, but not many of them do. Make sure these barricades are upgraded. Higher tier barricades will of course prevent enemies from wanting to, of course, damage, destroy them, and, potentially not listen to them. So definitely upgrade those barricades. Now we're going to build the laser beam on the northeast side of the map. We are going to want a wall dart right there. Of course, again for flingers. And now we're going to want some walls all along here. Of course, pretty much just everywhere, except there. The husks can spawn, of course, over by the far north side, so we will want to put a barricade here, and we don't want to have a wall, of course, there. And we're also going to want to get rid of this, and actually edit this wall, or just flat out get rid of it. Husks can pathfind up here, but they will destroy that wall if they, of course, have to pathfind up here. We're now going to want some 1-4 spikes. Just put that, of course, right there. Of course, one at the front of the other entrance, and then one, of course, right here. We're now going to want a barricade. It's just, of course, 3 tiles long. So we're going to, of course, just build it up like this. We're now going to want some ceilings, so just put them over top of all of the 4 tiles. And you know what? I guess I might as well just, add another ceiling here. There's no punishment for adding a secondary ceiling. It just only costs a bit of building materials, so why not? We're now going to want our 2 different copies of our ceiling field. Again, just alternate between the copy with double crit damage and then the one with double damage. Once again, for both consistent damage, as well as a bit of high damage when we do need it. We're also going to want some anti-airs, so we're going to place one here. And because of the, drop-off area that they have, I'm going to build them up here. And the reason why I put my anti-airs there is so if the exploders decide to shuck their propanes down there, the anti-airs up here will snipe them out of the air. Also, keep in mind, anti-airs cannot shoot downwards, so it's not completely foolproof. You may need some sound walls in that lane. But besides that, we're going to craft some more cannon straps. We're also going to craft some more light straps. So we could, of course, do that same technique where we stagger the enemies backwards and then have some wall darts that, of course, will shoot them. And, of course, stall the enemies that, of course, are attacking and pounding on the main walls defending the laser. We will also want some tar pits here, here, and then one all the way over there with a wall launcher there. We will also want some wall darts down there, except there we want a sound wall instead. And over here we'll want another sound wall, of course right there, and then one up here. And I guess I might as well put a 1-4 spike up there to help support it. Why not? We'll want some cannon straps, of course, down here. Again, we want different copies of these broadsides so they can alternate. And then we'll want some more broadsides with double crit damage, of course, protecting the main walls. And then up in the front, we will want a broadside with 2 reload perks and a wall dart over there. And now finally, we'll build the laser on the east-south side of the map. What we are going to want to do is we're going to want these 3 walls right here. And yes, they will of course attack this wall and they can get in on this little slope here. The nice thing with this laser beam is that if you do put barricades on all of the ledges, they kind of build the shrapnel itself, which is pretty nice. But right here we're going to do a weird technique. We're going to build a ramp going upwards with an ended floor like that, with an arrow ramp like that. So when husks of course get in here, they're going to have to go for that floor, that ramp, and then they can get through. So they're definitely not going to go for that barricade. Really good technique if you want to build barricades on the ramps. And then we're going to build, of course, more barricades on these wedges right here to force them to go in around the west-south side and then the far east side. And we're going to definitely build a double ceiling right here because this laser is not buffed by my base. And also, I suggest running banner as well as slow field for this mission because for some reason, a lot of flingers, if not most of the flingers, will actually shuck enemies specifically onto this laser. I don't know why. But make sure if you do have banner, slow field, proximity mine, drones, or a teleporter, you have them all up here. So you can of course get onto your roof super easily, or have extra defenses on your roof for flingers. And of course, we're going to want a few wall darts, of course, to pick off the enemies that do land on our roof. And we're going to want to upgrade and max out these barricades to prevent enemies from wanting to, of course, try to destroy something in these barricades. Higher tier barricades will prevent enemies from, of course, wanting to engage with them and try to bust them down to make their own path. We are now going to want some walls going around like this. And then, of course, all around this wedge, basically a bunch of free walls, why not? And we're going to build some walls up here like this. And we're going to build some ceilings, kind of like this. And then build another block off like this to, you know, protect that wall right there. And to help funnel the enemies a little bit better. We're now going to want some walls, kind of like this, and like that. With some wall darts right there to shoot at the enemies attacking this wall right here. And we will want a wall right there. Sadly, we can't put another wall trap there. Sometimes you can, depending on how much of the wall is obscured. Next, we're going to put some cannon traps down. You might have to, of course, upgrade some walls if you want to put them in the terrain. I suggest doing cannon traps. Dynamos won't do anything if they're put in terrain, and wall darts might miss because of their weird hitboxes. So make sure you put, of course, your cannon traps into terrain. Put a wall dart like that there. And the broadside cannonballs, believe it or not, do have a gravity effect, so they will be ricocheting off of all of those walls and rolling down the ramp. I would put a sound wall there, but it just won't work, so I'll just put it over there. And then, of course, make sure to put your one force spike there, not on the ramp. Smashers will think the ramp is a wall, so even if they're standing on top of it, they still will hit it if they try and charge at the main wall. We'll now want a tar pit, put it there and there. They're of course going to destroy that wall, I just know it. If they come down that lane, they're definitely destroying that wall. And we're also going to want another tar pit there, and then some anti-airs like that there. We may also want some anti-airs, of course, down here for exploders in case they do shuck propanes at the wall light over there. We're going to use some more wall lights, of course, to stun and of course stall those wakes that are of course attacking the main wall. And of course that's going to stagger enemies into around the middle of the tile, so of course those enemies could get hit by the wall darts. And then of course going to want some more cannon straps again. We're going to want another cannon strap with different perks from the ones on the main wall, and then some sound walls there, one force spike right there, and then we will want a wall launcher right there with an ended wall like that. And now we'll want some ceiling fields, of course, alternate them between the double crit damage one and the one with double damage. We will now want some tire straps with double reload, as well as triple durability. I normally craft these at tier 3, but I guess I'm broke. It's kinda sad that I'm broke on low tier resources, so I have to use my high tier resources. But I would suggest using these as tier 3, you do not get any extra benefit for having these as a 4th tier, besides the extra damage, but we're not using them for damage. And then make sure you put a ceiling field in that corner right there. And just like that, when you place all of the wizards down, it will give you a 2-minute timer, which I really doubt you're building, you know, all 4 of these wizards in 2 minutes. And it will of course tell you the element too. But other than that, that's pretty much the build. So I'm going to cut the video until the timer ends. Forgot to mention, because this wizard doesn't have the base buff, you want some wall spikes, of course, with heals attached on the insides of these walls, protecting this wizard. Also, a strategy that you want to do, and that I suggest, is to patrol around the 4 wizards in a circle. And I promise you, if you consistently visit all of the different wizards, consistently, and you don't spend like a lot of time at a specific laser, you will not have problems with weaks. And I actually do end up leaking in this defense, mostly because I'm just spending a lot more time at one of the laser beams. So I do suggest, of course, going in a circle, just visiting all of the laser beams, make sure there's no enemies on the roof, nothing, of course, destroyed from either trap durability or exploders or lobbers, and making sure there's no problems with smashers. And just like that, the mission is done. And I gotta say, that mission is pretty short for an endurance. That mission is ridiculously long. I'll be honest with you, 34,000 combat. You know, from just the traps doing their thing. And yeah, that's a very long mission. I would not be that surprised if you did end up slipping up randomly throughout the mission, if you of course did not micromanage everything well, or you might have slipped up by of course not replacing traps because of trap durability loss, because that's a huge problem that you have to of course watch out for. And you know, just randomly waking an enemy because maybe you had really bad luck with flingers or smashers. But yeah, very long mission, so I do suggest of course watching out for this one if you do want to try to complete it with all 4 laser beams. But other than that, that is pretty much the mission done. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to like and subscribe. Subscribing is a great way to stay up to date with whatever I do upload, and it helps out the channel a lot. Make sure to also leave a comment on this video. I like, of course, replying and reading everyone's comments. So, you know, why not leave a comment if you enjoyed something about the video. And also, share this video with someone that, you know, wants to beat Destroy the Meteor and maybe gain a free military hero. Why not? But other than that, I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you have yourselves a great day. And I will see you in the next one. So, see ya!